We were supposed to see Hamilton that night, 10 years married, and I finally got us those impossible Broadway tickets. Front mezzanine, center row. I even planned to surprise her. She always joked I wasn't spontaneous. Well, this time I was. It was a crisp evening in Times Square. I'd left work early, walked 5 blocks just to get to the box office myself instead of doing it online. I wanted it to feel personal. I wanted her to feel chosen. But standing in that glowing chaos of lights and tourists, I did something I almost never do. I opened Facebook. And that's where everything started to fall apart. There it was, a fresh post from my wife, Jenna. The caption hit me in the gut before I even processed the rest. How do I survive another date night with Captain Boring? I just stood there, like the wind got knocked out of me in the middle of Broadway. I couldn't even move. Her post was barely 10 minutes old. A joke? Maybe? One of those sarcasm things couples post sometimes. But the comments? At least he's consistent. Another night of awkward silence and Applebee's. And then the one that stuck with me like a blade. At least he's paying for dinner. Evan. I didn't know who Evan was yet. But I knew that wink. That familiarity. It wasn't harmless. I stared at the tickets in my hand. My fingers felt cold. Suddenly, the whole street just kept moving around me while I stood there, holding this, heartbreak into paper slips. I don't know why I didn't throw them away. I walked home, the whole way back rehearsing what I might say. Should I slam the door? Demand answers? Should I scream? But when I walked through our front door, she was on the couch, legs tucked under her, scrolling like it was just another evening. She looked up, smiled, and said, "Hey babe, you're early." I handed her the envelope. She opened it. Her eyes went wide. "Oh my God. Hamilton? You got us Hamilton tickets?" I nodded. She jumped up and hugged me. That version of her. Excited, warm, grateful. That was the woman I married. For a moment I forgot about the post. But not really. It sat in my chest like wet cement. I said nothing. We ordered Thai food. We sat on the couch. She talked about work. I nodded in the right places. But I wasn't there anymore. Later that night, when she fell asleep, I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling. I couldn't shake the sound of that comment in my head. Evan. Who the hell was Evan? I opened my phone again and clicked through to his profile. We had no mutual friends. But his latest photo was from a work happy hour. Her work. And there she was, smiling beside him, her hand casually on his arm like it had been there 100 times before. The caption, Friday crew. Her comment underneath, always the best company. I turned off the phone and stared at the dark ceiling again. And then I realized something chilling. She hadn't just mocked me. She'd shared the joke with someone else. That's when I knew. This wasn't just emotional distance. Something was happening. Something real. And I needed to know how far it went. 2 days later, she said she had to work late. Her tone was casual, normal. She even kissed me on the cheek. "Don't wait up," she said, grabbing her tote bag. "But her office closes at 6. I knew that. I knew because I double-checked it the night before, quietly, methodically. I wasn't paranoid. I was preparing. I waited 20 minutes after she left, then got in my car and drove. Her building was a gray, 6-story box in Midtown, the kind of place where ambition wears blazers and secrets take the elevator. I parked across the street with the engine off. 6 p.m. came and went. 6:15.6:30. At 6:45, I saw her walk out. She wasn't alone. Evan. He was taller than I expected, confident, relaxed. He walked beside her like someone who belonged there, not a stranger, not just a friend. She laughed at something he said, not the polite, soft laugh she gave clients or acquaintances, the real laugh, the one she used to save for me. They didn't touch, not in the obvious way, but they moved close, their bodies tilted toward each other like magnets. I followed them, slow, far enough behind. I knew I was breaking something inside myself just by watching, but I had to see it. They ended up at a small wine bar tucked into a side street, the kind of place we'd used to go before life got routine and predictable. I parked across from it, turned off my lights, and watched. They sat in a booth near the window. She was still in her work clothes, blazer off, sleeves rolled. He reached across the table and brushed something off her wrist. She didn't pull away. I watched them toast their glasses. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I didn't need to. Her smile told me everything. And it wasn't the smile she gave me when I handed her those Hamilton tickets. That one was rehearsed. This one was real, soft, easy. I sat there for nearly an hour, my jaw clenched so hard it ached. I thought about going in, making a scene, asking him if dinner was on me too. Just like he joked, but I did in single quotes t. I drove home. The house was quiet. I sat in the dark living room, lights off, jacket still on. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just listened to the silence. And somehow, it hurt more than any fight would have. She got home just before midnight. The door clicked open, and I didn't move. "Oh," she said, startled. "You're still up?" I turned the lamp on. "Yeah," I said. "I wanted to ask how work went." She blinked. "It was fine. Busy." I nodded slowly, then looked her in the eye. "I saw you." She froze. The blood drained from her face so fast I almost felt bad. "I saw you leave with him. I saw you at the restaurant." She stared at me, and for a second, it was like she was someone else entirely. And then the words came. Excuses. Panicked and rehearsed all at once. "It's not what it looked like. He's just a friend. We were celebrating a deal. I didn't want to worry you, but I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just looked at her. Finally, she said the thing that mattered. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I stood up. That's the part I can't believe. I walked past her, into the kitchen, not because I didn't want to yell, but because I decided not to give her drama. I wasn't going to bleed out so she could feel better about being the one who stabbed me. I made myself tea. She followed me, tearful now, reaching for my hand. "I still love you," she whispered, and I said nothing, because sometimes silence is the only way to answer a lie. The next morning was heavy. The kind of silence that doesn't just sit in a room, it presses on your chest. She didn't sleep. I could hear her tossing, occasionally sniffling. I slept on the couch, or, more accurately, I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling with my eyes open until daylight crept in. At 7:13 a.m., I got up, packed a small overnight bag, and poured coffee into a thermos. She came downstairs in her robe, puffy-eyed. "Where are you going?" I didn't answer at first. I zipped the bag, slung it over my shoulder, and looked her in the eyes. "I'm leaving for a while." Her voice cracked. "Please, don't." I blocked Evan. I deleted the post. I was stupid. It was a joke that went too far. "You deleted the evidence," I said quietly. "Not the betrayal." She walked toward me like she was ready to fall into my arms, but I stepped back. That small movement, so minor, shattered her more than any shouted word could have. "I can fix this," she said. "Let's go to therapy. Let's just start again." I looked at her, really looked, and saw the woman I'd loved for a decade. The woman who used to hold my hand under tables, laugh at my bad jokes, fall asleep on my chest during movie nights. But now, all I could see was how easy it was for her to make me the punchline. "You didn't cheat once," I said. "You did it twice. First in private, then in public." She collapsed into a chair, hands over her face. I didn't raise my voice. I just raised the bag strap over my shoulder and walked out. A week later, I sat by the river just north of the city, phone in my hand, a message on the screen. "I miss you. Please come home." It sat there under her name, glowing softly. I hadn't blocked her. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted peace. I reread the note I had written to myself the day it happened. The day I stood in Times Square with those Hamilton tickets and saw her post. "You don't owe your pain to the person who caused it." I stared at that sentence, and for the first time in days, I exhaled. I turned off the phone. No reply. No going back. That night, I wandered down toward Broadway. The lights shimmered just like they had the day I bought those tickets, only now they didn't remind me of heartbreak. They reminded me that I was still here, still standing. Maybe someday I'd go see that show, alone, or maybe with someone who actually wanted to be there with me. But for now, I was just me again. Not the villain in her stories, not the Captain Boring she joked about. Just a man who loved deeply, got hurt quietly, and chose to walk away with his dignity intact. Not every betrayal ends in flames. Some end in footsteps. And peace.